Hello and welcome, friends. Today we are going to be talking about the second noble truth and then have a short guided meditation later on in the video. Let's start by refreshing our memory on what the four noble truths are. So first, there is dukkha. Second, there is the origin of dukkha. Third, there is the cessation of dukkha. And fourth, there is the path leading to the cessation of dukkha. Last week, we explored this word and topic of dukkha. We discovered that it's difficult to pinpoint this word into a single translation, and we discussed a little about what dukkha is, how to recognize it, and then tried to think of ways that we have and continue to experience dukkha in our own lives. So let's begin the discussion on the second noble truth. There is the origin of dukkha. So not only do we experience dukkha from birth, aging, sickness, death, and the other topics we mentioned last week, but we also experience dukkha from craving, or also referred to as desire. The Pali word for this is tanha, roughly spelled T-A-N-H-A. Craving goes along with a topic I very briefly mentioned last week, which are the 5 aggregates. These aggregates, which consist of form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, establish this basis of craving. The 5 aggregates are pretty self-explanatory, but you can also break down consciousness into the 6 consciousnesses, which correlate with our actual senses, plus mental consciousness. I'm taking this excerpt from the website Buddha.net, and I will provide a link to this in the description below. Desire, or tanha in Pali, is an important thing to understand. What is desire? Kama tanha is very easy to understand. This kind of desire is wanting sense pleasures through the body or the other senses, and always seeking things to excite or please your senses. That is kama tanha. You can really contemplate, what is it like when you have desire for pleasure? For example, when you are eating, if you are hungry and the food tastes delicious, you can be aware of wanting to take another bite. Notice that feeling when you are tasting something pleasant, and notice how you want more of it. Don't just believe this, try it out. Don't think you know it because it has been that way in the past. Try it out when you eat. Taste something delicious and see what happens. A desire arises for more. That is kama tanha. We also contemplate the feeling of wanting to become something. But if there is ignorance, then we are not seeking something delicious to eat or some beautiful music to listen to. We can be caught in a realm of ambition and attainment, the desire to become. We get caught in that movement of striving to become happy, seeking to become wealthy, or we might attempt to make our life feel important by endeavoring to make the world right. So note this sense of wanting to become something other than what you are right now. Listen to the bhavatanha of your life. I want to practice meditation so I can become free from my pain. I want to become enlightened. I want to become a monk or a nun. I want to become enlightened as a layperson. I want to have a wife and children and a profession. I want to enjoy the sense world without having to give up anything and become an enlightened arahant too. When we get disillusioned with trying to become something, then there is the desire to get rid of things. So we contemplate vibhavatanha, the desire to get rid of. I want to get rid of my suffering. I want to get rid of my anger. I've got this anger and I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of jealousy, fear, and anxiety. Notice this as a reflection on vibhavatanha. We are actually contemplating that within ourselves which wants to get rid of things. We are not trying to get rid of vibhavatanha. We are not taking a stand against the desire to get rid of things, nor are we encouraging that desire. Instead, we are reflecting. It's like this. It feels like this to want to get rid of something. I've got to conquer my anger. I have to kill the devil and get rid of my greed. Then I will become. We can see from this train of thought that becoming and getting rid of are very much associated. Bear in mind, though, that these three categories of kamatanha, bhavatanha, and vibhavatanha are merely convenient ways of contemplating desire. They are not totally separate forms of desire, but different aspects of it. So I will provide a link to that in the description below. So, this tanha is what keeps us stuck in a loop of craving and becoming. When we crave something and we are unaware of this craving, we become something. This is the source of dukkha, a cycle of craving and becoming. Now let us take a moment to sit in meditation to reflect and integrate this teaching. You can sit, stand, walk, or lie down, whichever is most appropriate for you. You can close the eyes or keep a soft gaze. Let's take an inhale together to center ourselves. And exhale. Continue your awareness on the breath. Noticing the breath. If it is long or short, deep or shallow. Not changing it, but just becoming aware of the sensation of your breath. Now start to notice that the breath does not require our awareness to continue. We can be thinking of something or doing something, but even when our awareness is elsewhere, the breath is still there. Even when we get lost in thought, our breath continues. Our breath continues and sustains our life even if we are not aware of it. Most of our lives are lived without having this awareness. We will often get pulled around by our internal and external worlds. A craving will arise and we seek it out. Call to mind your favorite meal. When we crave our favorite meal and then receive this meal, we may experience temporary satisfaction, but that craving is never truly satisfied. If it were, then we would only eat our favorite meal once and then never crave it again. We keep going back to our cravings again and again. Our cravings are never truly satisfied, or they would stop arising. This is not to say, I should get rid of this craving, or I shouldn't have craving. That would be vibhava tanha. Step back in your mind and simply notice how this process takes place. Just take notice. Observe. Notice how these things only become reality when we pay attention to them. Craving arises and we seek to satisfy it. But when we can be aware of this as it arises, we do not have to be controlled by it. We can just notice it. Craving arises and passes away. The nature of craving is impermanent, and we can let go of it. Truly ask yourself, is this craving me? Is it who I am, or is this something that arises and passes away from my experience of conditioned phenomena? Begin to bring your awareness back to the space. You can open the eyes or widen the gaze. I want to close this out with another excerpt from that same passage on BuddhaNet. Desire should be let go of. This is how letting go comes into our practice. You have an insight that desire should be let go of, but that insight is not a desire to let go of anything. If you are not very wise and are not really reflecting in your mind, you tend to follow the I want to get rid of. I want to let go of all my desires. But this is just another desire. However, you can reflect upon it. You can see the desire to get rid of, the desire to become, or the desire for sense pleasure. By understanding these three kinds of desire, you can let them go. The second noble truth does not ask you to think, I have a lot of sensual desires, or I'm really ambitious, I'm really bhavatanha plus, or I'm a real nihilist, I just want out. I'm a real vibhavatanha fanatic, that's me. The second noble truth is not that. It is not about identifying with desires in any way. It's about recognizing desire. The way this was written reminds me of Ajahn Amaro, and now I'm wondering if he was the one who wrote this. So next week, we'll take a look at the third noble truth, the cessation of dukkha. I invite you to reflect on this teaching over the next week, and if you feel called to share your reflections in the comments, please do. Or you can send me an email if you wish to discuss your insights privately or have any questions. That can be found in the bio, I believe, or I can provide it in the description. Thank you all for being here. May you be free of suffering and with peace.